The Eagles finished 14-3 in 2022. And the question is, did they get better going into 2023? And somehow, some way, the Eagles actually got better this offseason. Okay. They lost a lot of talent, but they were able to replace pretty much everybody and then some. And they were able to do that through free agency and the draft. Once again, smashing a draft. Okay, so you look at everything they did. They re-signed Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, and James Bradbury. Massive pickups to be able to keep these guys in the building. Obviously, Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox are longtime Eagles. These guys will probably retire as Eagles with Jason Kelsey. And then bringing James Bradbury. I saw something just the other day. He said that James Bradbury is the only person in the league since like 2017 or something like that that has 10 pass breakups every season. Right, that's extremely impressive. He's not perfect, but he's one of the best in the league. They were able to keep him in the building. They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but they signed Terrell Edmonds. So it's a downgrade, sure. I understand C.J. Gardner-Johnson, very good, but Terrell Edmonds is a really good football player too. So having him there in that defense, that attack style defense, he's tailor-made for that defense, honestly. Okay, then you lose Gardner Minshew as a backup quarterback, but you get Marcus Mariota. What we've seen in the preseason might not be great, but they have Marcus Mariota. They lose Miles Sanders, but they end up getting DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny. Plus, they still have Kenneth Gainwell. So honestly, they upgraded the backfield this year in a pretty big way, especially if Rashad Penny is able to stay on the field. That's going to be a big deal for the Eagles. And DeAndre Swift, so far, everything I've heard, he looks phenomenal for the Eagles. So again, him staying on the field is going to be a big deal. But if he is, like, what they have in running backs is some of the best in the NFL, right? And then you look towards the offensive line. They have Andre Dillard and Isaac Suamalu, who both left in free agency, but they still have Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, and Jason Kelsey on that offensive line. All right, so they should be just fine going into the season. They're still going to be one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. That's something that they don't really even have to worry about. Okay, and this team still has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith on it, still has Darius Slay on it. And then you think about everything they already have. Okay, as if the roster wasn't already stacked enough. They went into the draft and they got defensive tackle Jalen Carter from Georgia with the 9th pick. And then they went and got another Georgia Bulldog, linebacker Nolan Smith, who somehow made it to pick 30. And then in the 4th round, they get another Georgia Bulldog with pick 105 with cornerback Kelly Ring. So he once again went heavy on Georgia Bulldogs, but Georgia is currently pumping out NFL talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which is where they went here. Got some Georgia Bulldogs last year for the defense. So this defense is going to be absolutely insane, right? You think about the inside of the defense has Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. And on the ends, you have Brandon Graham, Hassan Riddick, Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett. If you need to rush Nolan Smith, you can rush Nolan Smith. Like, they have so much depth on this team, right? No, Nakobe Dean at linebacker. There's so much depth here on the offense and the defense. Like, the Eagles are just on a different level, especially being in the NFC. They're just on a different level, you know? And I've watched a lot of football in my life. I've never seen a roster that looks like this. They have so much talent. And honestly, it's hard to imagine a world where the Eagles aren't making it back to the Super Bowl this year. Okay, so with that said, let's get into some of the games on the schedule here. All right, week 1 against the Patriots, they win that game. Week 2 against the Vikings is going to be a really good game, okay? A must-watch game here against the Vikings. This is going to be no shortage of stars from either team, and the outcome of this game could end up deciding who gets the number 1 seed in the NFC. Okay, very important game. The Vikings should be really good this year. And with the Eagles having such a difficult schedule, all these games are going to be very important for them. And for what it's worth, I do have the Eagles winning week 2 against the Vikings. Okay, then you move up. They beat the Bucks, they beat Washington, they beat the Rams. Then you get to week 6 and 7, where they're at the Jets and against the Dolphins. Both of these games are going to be a test of attrition. Okay, all 3 of these teams are stacked and expected to be very good in 2023. And these are games that I have the Eagles losing. Okay, I have them losing both of these games, but spoiler alert, they only lose one more game the rest of the season. Okay, because you go forward, week 8 against Washington, they win. Week 9 against the Cowboys, Cowboys are also going to be a really good team, and I have the Eagles winning that game. Okay, and weeks 9 through 16 are an absolute gauntlet for the Eagles. Okay, you start there with the Cowboys and the Chiefs. You start there with the Cowboys, and then you have the bye week in week 10. When you get off the bye week, you have Kansas City. I have the Eagles winning that game. The Bills, I have the Eagles winning that game. The 49ers, I have the Eagles winning that game. Week 14 against the Cowboys, it is at Dallas. I have Dallas winning their home game against the Eagles. That is the one more game that they lose. And then they get the Seahawks and the Giants in 15 and 16. I have them winning those games, and then they finish the year with the Cardinals and the Giants in 17 and 18. I have them winning those games as well. And they finish the season with a 14 and 3 record. And again, this is a team that I expect to at least compete for a Super Bowl, right? Would not be surprised if they end up in the Super Bowl. Would not be surprised if they won the Super Bowl this year. They aren't my pick to win the Super Bowl, but we will have a video before the regular season on, the playoffs and how I see the playoffs going. So make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you continue to get notified of all the division debate videos. I'm going to be getting back into this. Had to take a little break with everything going on in life. But we're going to get all these out, and then at the end of it, we will have playoff predictions for you. So make sure you stick around and keep coming back for more division debates as we lead into the NFL season. And until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you for the next video.